Cyndi is just, I'm sorry, thank you for recording. Welcome tonight at our Wednesday Epic Empire team call. Tonight we have the blessing and honor to have Cyndi Laninga as our guest speaker. She is a diamond or lifetime diamond coach with Epic, and she has a team called Triple Threat. Did I get that correct?
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever had any time to just sit and talk to Cyndi or interact with her in any way, super encouraging woman. I just know that when I get to have a conversation with her or interact with her online, which most of our conversations are online, I walk away feeling encouraged. So that's a gift that she has, and I'm thankful for her on our team and our leadership. And her leadership. So Cyndi, I know this is your first team call.
No, I did one a while back, but it's been a while.
All right. Well, we're all friends, so
it's all good. Well, I'm speaking on fear, so no better way to.
There you go. All right. So if you guys have questions, please put them in the chat, or you're welcome to unmute at the end and ask questions. But if you can, I know that it's hard to not be distracted, but it's our time to sit together and learn and grow. So Cyndi, you've got our undivided attention, girlfriend.
Oh, good. Well, first, I just want to thank you, Sweet Jatana and Epic Empire, for just giving me the honor and privilege to lead tonight's call. I really kind of sat and thought about what I wanted to speak on, and this summer was an interesting journey for me, and I'll get into that a little bit, but I really wanted to talk to you guys about just fighting and forgetting fear and finding your own niche. I think that for me, a little backstory on me, I started my journey back in April of 2016. And started just like most of us did, where I was tired and sick of being sick and tired, and I was overweight, depressed, had IBS, had all these issues, and found my coach at the time and was able to lose 50 pounds in the I guess, 4 to 5 month time period. So by August of 2016, I was down 50 pounds, feeling great, went from a size 12 to a size 2, had a new lease on life. By January 2017, I hit diamond in my business. And by July of 2017, I was right on the cusp for a week. I was borderline 1-star qualifying, and then I lost my diamond, and honestly, kind of the bottom fell out a little bit. And I really started questioning. It was really after my first summit, I started really questioning what I was doing wrong, because everybody else had all this success and I wasn't as successful as I wanted to be, and it wasn't growing as fast as I wanted it to. And I just knew that this was what I was meant to do. And I started just kind of chasing the wind a little bit. I didn't know at the time that I was, but I started questioning myself. Like, what if I did it like she did it? Or what if I started doing it like her? And, oh, she has success, so I think I'll do this. And I just was kind of all over the place. And I really started unnoticeably trying to be like everybody else. And in that, I found that I started trying to please everybody else and care more about what other people thought of me and what I was doing, and cared more about other people's success than my own success, that I really lost my vision for my business. And at that point, looking back, I realized that I was trying to please everybody else instead of doing what I had been called to do. And I don't know if any of you guys have read any of Aesop's fables at all, but I want to read you one to kind of lead you kind of down a path and talk to you about kind of really what had happened to me over the last year, and where I have found myself now. So it is, I grabbed this from a pastor's website, his blog, and it talks about Aesop's fables are an ancient collection of fables, each one teaching a life lesson. One of the fables involves a father, his son, and their donkey. The lesson teaches us a timeless lesson, and that is that he's going to revisit it today. So here's the fable. It says, the father, the son, and their donkey were all walking down the road toward the market. Everything was fine until someone passed by them and said, you fools, what is a donkey for but to ride upon? So the father placed his son upon the donkey and continued down the road. A little while later, some more people passed by and said, look at that lazy youngster. He let his father walk while he rides. Embarrassed by the criticism, the father and son switched places and continued down the road. They hadn't gone too far before some more people passed by and said, shame on that lazy father for riding that while his son has to trudge alongside. So the father had the son climb onto the donkey with him. Then they continued down the road. When they reached town, some of the townspeople pointed them and jeered. The father stopped the donkey and asked someone the reason for the pointing and jeering. And the answer he received was, aren't you too ashamed of yourselves for loading down that poor donkey? So the father and son dismounted the donkey and tried to figure out the best way to proceed. Since they'd tried every other way and been criticized for each one, they hit upon the idea of cutting down a pole, tying the donkey's feet to it, and carrying the pole across their shoulders, with the donkey hanging upside down in suspension between them. It took some doing to get all that accomplished, but they finally got it done and started making their way onward down towards the market. As the father and son walked along, onlookers laughed at them, but the pair had decided that they weren't going to do any more changing. This means of travel was their last option. So they ignored all the laughter and continued toward the market. But when they got to the bridge that lay just before the market, the donkey worked one of its feet loose from the pole and started kicking wildly. All the commotion caused the son to drop his end of the pole, and as a result of the ensuing struggle, the donkey, with 3 of its feet still being tied to the pole, ended up going over the side of the bridge and drowning. As the father and son stood there looking down into the water, watching their poor animal succumb to its death, they heard the critical voice of an old man who had followed them through town in disbelief. The old man said to them, that'll teach you. Okay, boys and girls, what is the life lesson of this fable? It is simply this: please all, and you will please none. At least that's how the fable words it. We might word it, you can't please everybody, so don't even bother trying. In Genesis 5:24, the Bible tells us that Enoch walked with God and God took him from this earth by some means other than death. Hebrews 11:5 adds more commentary on this verse by saying, by faith Enoch was taken away so that he did not see death, and was not found because God had taken him. For before he was taken, he had this testimony that he pleased God. You see, Enoch understood how to live. The priority of your life and my life should simply be to please God. If we can do that, what the critics have to say won't matter. So let's stop worrying so much about what other people's opinions and expectations are of us and strive to focus exclusively on doing God's will in every situation. If we do that, we won't be losing any of our donkeys to drowning. So that just spoke so clearly to my situation, because I had gotten so distracted and so worried and worked so hard on trying to do what everybody else was doing that I kind of created havoc in my marriage with my children. I was so distracted and so busy doing, I don't even know what, just trying to be like everybody else, that in front of me, I had just kind of created this catastrophic mess. And so fast forward a little bit, or back up, whichever way you look at it, in April of 2018. So I had spent probably a year, just short of a year. I mean, we're talking from June 2017 to April of 2018. So almost a year, 2 years from when I started. And the Lord grabbed a hold of my heart. And I don't know if you guys remember watching this, but I decided to unplug from social media for the summer. And people thought I was nuts. They're like, Cyndi, do you understand you're a Beachbody coach? Like, you don't unplug from social media. Like, that's your market. That is where that's where you build your business. You cannot unplug. But I knew that I needed to unplug and plug back into my own story and plug back into my own journey. And in doing that, I didn't care what the onlookers said. I knew that that's what I needed to do for my family and for me, and honestly for my business. And so in doing that, from May 1st of 2018 to September 1st of 2018, I unplugged from social media completely. I went off Facebook. I went off Instagram. Like, I took the apps off my phone. I took it off my computer. And what was so cool, and I might get emotional because this was a really cool thing that had happened, is that I was able to see things clearly. I had gained 20 pounds back. I had lost my diamond for over 6 months. I was barely able to afford my Shakeology at that point, and I had nothing to show for all this hard work that I was putting in. And because I unplugged and plugged back into my own story, I found that I started journaling a lot. And I was just spending a lot of time with the Lord, and I just wanted to get back to why I started and get back to basics and figure out, like, I was successful before. I wasn't 15-star. I wasn't making 6 figures, but I was on the right path. I mean, I had hit diamond. I was in the best shape of my life. Things were going well with my family. Like, I was on the right path, but something shifted. And what I had realized was that I had lost the vision that was mine and the niche that was mine. And it is this triple threat mindset. And basically, to give you guys an idea of what that was, the vision for my business and for what I'm trying to help women become healthy in is all 3 areas of their life: their mind, their body, and their spiritual life. And when we're healthy in all 3 areas, not perfect, right? None of us are perfect, but when we're healthy in all 3 areas, we become a threat to the enemy of our souls and the enemy of our marriages and our children and our family and everything that we're fighting for. And it helped me get re-engaged with the women that were in the sphere of my influence. And what I found by unplugging is I was able to start seeing the women in front of me in my community, at church, at my kids' school, at the pool, at the park. I was able to see them and talk to them one-on-one and really build deeper relationships. So now I came back September 1st, and in my journaling journey, I always like to go back. And I was like, what was it? Like, what was it, God, that you shared with me back when I started? So I looked back at my journal, and in April of 2016, like right after I'd started coaching, is my original vision for my business. And what's so crazy is I looked at it, and I had this meal prep idea that I was going to have these weekly meal prep nights at my house, that I was going to be a PIO instructor, that I was going to somehow help my community at large. And as of October 21st, I am a PIO Live instructor. I reached out and I went outside my comfort zone and I got certified in PIO. I'm now teaching a class inside my house for like 3 to 4 ladies twice a week. And it is the most empowering, amazing thing to know that you are doing what you're called to do. And I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't gotten lost for so long. Like, I wasted so much time. Like, I look back and I'm like, I wasted a year. But if I hadn't have wasted that year, I don't think that I would have the fire that I have. And if I hadn't gone against the grain and unplugged for 3 months, like, all the skeptics were like, Cyndi, you're insane. Like, you're crazy. Like, what are you doing? My diamond's back. It's back solid. It's been back for 5 weeks. 1 star is so close within reach. And as of January 9th, I'm going to be certified as a 2B mindset mentor. And chasing after that nutrition, I'm going to go back for my nutritionist degree in the fall when all my kids are back in school full time. And the most exciting thing that's happened is that we have small groups at our church, and one of the gals in my small group just started working at this community outreach. It's a kind of church community services that helps the needy and the poor and the hungry in our local community. And they have a community garden. And so I reached out to her and I said, I've always wanted, we have this acre that we don't really do anything with. And I've always wanted to garden. And I kind of did like this pseudo little garden this year, because I was like, you know what, I got to figure out how to garden for my family so that we can cut costs and budget groceries, because that's part of the niche that I really feel we're in, kind of a poor community that they can't. So many of my clients are like, Cyndi, I can't afford Shakeology. Like, I can't afford to buy organic food. I can't. And I'm like, you know what? Enough with the can'ts. Like, we need to help people get healthy where they're at. So if they can't afford Shakeology, well, by goodness, I live in farm country. So we're going to figure out how to farm. Like, and garden and be able to provide for our family in a way that meets the needs of the people in my niche and in my community. So I reached out, and they're coming in the spring to set up our part of our acre for a community education garden, in which I will be able to help the community and teach them how to garden. My neighbor is ex-Mennonite. She knows how to can. So I'm going to have a fall course that helps people learn how to can and feed their families healthfully and on a budget, and do it the way that they need to do it. And if I had stayed so consumed with how everybody else was doing it and didn't take my eyes back and take a minute and say, why am I working so hard and not getting anything out of this, I wouldn't be where I am. And so I just encourage you ladies in that, don't be afraid to do it differently than everybody else, because there's so many people in need of help. There are so many people, a lot of my clientele don't do social media. So like the Challenge Tracker app is huge for me because they don't go on Facebook. They don't want to go on Facebook. So I've utilized the Challenge Tracker app to help my challengers. And I found that by me reaching out in my community more so than on social media, I'm actually helping more people. My business is growing, not at all how I thought it would. I'm teaching classes in my home. There's potential for me to get a job as a full-time PIO instructor in the fall at the Y nearby. That's kind of in the works. This community garden thing, I think, is going to become something bigger than I even know about. I have every Tuesday night is a meal prep night at my house, and women come, they bring their groceries and they're prepping their meals, and we're talking and we're helping and we're supporting each other. And it's just a very cool thing to know that we don't have to worry about what anybody else thinks. We just have to chase after the vision and the hopes and the dreams that we have for our business and our coaching, whatever that looks like. Your dreams are not crazy. Your vision for your business is not crazy, even if it doesn't look like anybody else. And, you know, Jatana, like, I love her and I wish I could be an Instagram queen like her, but I just don't have what she's got. And it's okay. Like, it is okay. And it's a beautiful thing. I think that we are all different because we can reach more people. If we were all the same, we'd be reaching all the same people. And the goal is to end the trend of obesity and to help as many people get healthy as we can. And we all reach a different niche. And in that, we're going to reach more people if we fully embrace who we are and the gifts that we've been given. So I just want to end with chase after the plans and the purposes that God has for you and only you, because there is only one you. So embrace it. And thanks. Like, I don't like.
That was incredible. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your heart. Thank you for being raw and real and vulnerable. You know what I mean? It's not easy to share what your struggles were, or, you know, that you had to pull back, or even the fact that you might have feared that comparison. So thank you.
Oh, thank you guys.
Does anybody have some questions for Cyndi? Or maybe you're going through something that feels similar, where maybe you don't have to unplug it and she can pour her wisdom in on you and be able to help navigate through those exact same feelings. I know, just to kind of get the ball rolling, oh my gosh, I went through a very similar journey early on with Beachbody. I signed on and there was all these huge teams, and there was this one team that they were all beautiful blondes. And I was like, I want to be on that team because they're just all like, they're fun to look at. They've got a lot going. Like, they have a little Ken husband, the pretty blonde, and it was really in awe by them. And I found myself trying to emulate how they were, kind of like what you said, and trying to do the things they did. And I found myself probably 3 years ago, super frustrated to the point of almost quitting. And there came a point, I think it was when I just got into a nasty little tiff with another girl who had said something yucky, kind of like your donkey story, right? and said, you know what? I'm just going to be me. I like country music. I like my Jeep. I like to wear makeup when I work out. I'm goofy and silly. I'm girly. Like, I just started owning who I was. And I get made fun of, just like the donkey story you said. But the people who are supposed to be in your circle of influence, the people who are supposed to be on this journey with you, they're going to love you the way you are. And so when you can fully embrace who you're supposed to be on this journey and be okay with it and not worry about what everybody else thinks, and not try to be anybody else. I mean, how many people have seen the skipping and dancing on social media and you're like, I'm not sure. Like, don't try to do what Tana's doing. That's not you, girl. Whenever you can just embrace that and really figure out who you are, I think that's one of my favorite. Sorry, I'm like going on random tangents, but one of my favorite things about my journey as a coach is if I had never coached, I don't think I'd truly know who I am as a 37-year-old woman. I think I'm 37. Yeah, 37-year-old woman. I would have been trying to be, I know I was trying to be before Beachbody, and I'm just saying this because it relates to your story. I was trying to be the homeschool moms at my church. And here I am with hair extensions and eyelashes and crop tops and fit in. I was trying, and I was miserable, and I was trying to be person that I'm not. And so I love your story, and it resonates with me big time. So hopefully it resonates with you guys as well. What questions do you have? Is anybody going through similar or been through a similar situation?
You're amazing. Always love hearing from you. I can definitely relate because I think and it helps to get to your 40s, I think, and then finally you don't care. You just straight up don't care what anybody else thinks. Like, I am me, I'm going to do me. And all you really care about is your kids, what they think of you, and your husband. That's all that's important. And it does help, I think, just to a maturity level of just growing in that, because we do always want to fit in. We do always want to please everybody else, and we want it to look a certain way, and we want our house to look a certain way before we invite somebody over. And now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, look, my house is not perfect, but do you want to come over and have a cup of coffee? Come on over. And it's a struggle on social media just because so much comes at you. And people get brave and they say things they would never say to your face. So it can be hard. And I think you're very brave to have done, your social media challenge. I was one of those ones that I'm like, she's crazy. I never said that to you, but I'm like, wow, she's crazy, but she's doing it. And I know that you were called to do it. And I thought it was awesome. Because even though it's not something I would have done, it was something you needed to do. And it's empowering to watch someone go through that. So I appreciate you being part of the team. Just if you could talk a little bit about that, because I've gone through something. It wasn't in business. It was actually private. I actually had a girlfriend issue, a falling out, a drama thing. And I heard from the Lord, and the Lord told me to go say certain things and do certain things and have certain conversations with this person. And I had everybody even in my trusted circle telling me, you're crazy. You can't do that. Don't talk to her ever again. Don't do this. But I knew in my heart of hearts, this is what the Lord was telling me to do. And when I did that and I obeyed what was inside me and what I knew I was called to do, it was empowering. So can you touch a little bit on that, and just to help others of like the feelings that go along with fighting that fear, getting over that, and then what you say to people when they tell you you're crazy, like, because I personally think if we have things to say in our arsenal, when somebody tells us you're crazy, you're like, yep, I'm crazy and I own it. So that's my personal thing. Can you share with us kind of how that is from your perspective?
Just as far as me unplugging, or just if I have haters that are,
well, just any of it.
I think I do truly believe that 40 brings about a whole different sort of confidence. I really do, because you just don't care. You live a certain amount of time and you're like, you know what? Life is too stinking short to really waste time worrying about what other people think. I mean, I don't want to live with regret. And I don't, more than anything, I have 2 daughters and I want them to never care what anybody thinks about them. Because especially in today's world, I think that it's so easy. The comparison trap is so nasty and it's so ugly, and it shoots us off and causes us to waste so much time. I kind of had a lot of those moments, and it's a faith over fear thing for me, because that was really scary. Like, it was really scary. And to be completely honest, like when Jatana Jackson says, Cyndi, it's crazy for you to go off social media. Okay, maybe I should rethink this. Cause like Jatana knows her stuff. Like, I don't know if I should, like, I questioned myself a lot in those big, like scary, like, okay, this could be catastrophic. And it was a leap of faith, because it was like I had a lot of conversations with the Lord where I'm like, okay, you're the one that brought me this business. So I'm trusting you to not have it like totally disappear. But I know that I know. And honestly, in those moments of like leaps of faith, I constantly was in the Word. I mean, that's kind of where I go for confirmation of like, am I supposed to be doing this? Take it to prayer, and I'm always like, okay, God, like you have to confirm this. And that's why like I knew in April, but it took me till May to go off because I wanted to know that I knew that I know, it was one of those. And it just, you have to be looking for confirmation in what you know to be true. And Melinda, probably in that situation, you could probably speak to that too, where you just knew in your gut, you just knew. It's that, that gut feel where I always tell my kids, trust your gut. You just know that and I'd ask for confirmation, and like I'd read something, and then like one of my coaches on my team would like send me like the exact same quote or the same scripture verse or like a song, and I'm like, okay, well, that's undeniable. I mean, so I'd ask for confirmation, and I truly believe we serve a very big God that's in the details. And so I ask for specific things like, God, if this is truly what you want me to do, you have to tell me, because I am dumb and I am slow, and you really need to tell me, because this is scary and I don't think I'm going to do it. And, even just my family, just the things that my kids would say, hearing my kids say to me, Mom, you're always on your phone. I'm like, okay, okay. Like I don't want that to be there. I don't want that to be their memory of me. His mom was always on her phone. Her mom was always helping other people. Her mom was always, not that it's bad to help other people, but my family is my greatest ministry and the people that I should be serving the most. So, do it scared. What do they say? Change is on the other side of your comfort zone, or victory is right on the other side of your comfort zone. There's this picture that I always love of this man like chipping away at this rock wall. And, he's this close to breaking through, and he turns around and goes the other way. Like, if he had only known how close he was. And I think that's so much too of where we get stuck, is we don't realize how close we truly are to those breakthrough moments, because we allow fear to take over. And my biggest challenge to you guys is, if you're truly afraid, push through the fear, because fear is usually the thing that keeps us. What is it? It's false evidence appearing as real, right? So question the fear. If you're truly afraid, I'd question the fear more than I'd question the leap of faith, because I think the fear is what limits us and keeps us from that breakthrough moment, because it's our own thoughts and emotions and crazy that keep us from breaking through, and fear is false. So I'd question the fear more than I'd question the leap of faith that you're challenging yourself to. So
I love that you use that the picture. I know exactly where the guy's got the little pickaxe or whatever.
Yep.
That picture, I saw it years ago, and it's the one that is in my mind every single time. I'm like, I don't think I can, or I'm not good enough, or I don't know if I can walk on that stage and do this. I don't know if I can get on that call and do this. I don't know if I can send that invite. I don't know if they'd want to be on my team. Like, if they signed on with this team, they'd be so much better. And I'm like, what if that wall is this big? And if I just did it, somebody signs up and then the team blows up and they go 10-star themselves. And so those things, those are in my mind when I'm inviting to coaching. And when you get fear of like, I'm not good enough to invite them. I don't think they'd want to be on my team. My team's not big enough. What if they're the next Kelly King or Jana or Cyndi or Melinda or Holly? What if that's who they are? And you're fearful and you're right there. So I love that picture. If you guys if you haven't ever seen it, we'll post it. Maybe we can post it in Epic Empire. But think about that every single time you get fearful of something. And that's what I do. It's practice that I've had for years now. So I love that you mentioned that. What else? Hi, Audra.
Sorry. My baby hopped on. I didn't even see her.
Yay! I was having issues putting my daughter to bed, and I was like, "Oh my God, Cindy's on tonight. I have to get her down." So she's upstairs crying, and here I am. I'm just kidding.
That's awesome. Thank you, Dylan. I love you, girl.
Cry it out. Oh, any other questions for Cyndi? That will wrap it up. Oh, well, girlfriend, we appreciate you so much. You're such a blessing to me. I know you're a blessing to everybody else in Epic Empire. I'm so excited that you're back on the train. I know that I gave you flack for disappearing. I'm just doing what I know, but I'm so glad that you listened to what was in your heart. And that was a part of your journey. It's part of your story, right? And so the lessons that you learned through that story and that journey, even though it could be feeling like you went backwards and forwards in all these directions, it allows you to have the ability to mentor other women who might feel that way and might not have to do that. They might be able to get that wisdom from you right now, even tonight, with everybody listening to this call. They're absorbing it and they're saying, you know what? I don't need to feel like I got to compare myself to other people. I can just embrace who I am and be on this journey and enjoy it. So thank you. I appreciate it. All right, guys, go give her some love in Epic Empire so people start getting on these calls. All right. Next week is Christmas, so there's no team call, there's no diamond call, there's no calls next week. Enjoy your families, your loved ones. If you're on social media, share it with the world.
I'm back. Oh, I'm back. Don't you worry. I'm back.
All right. Love you guys. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.